I'm Monty McKinnon. Thank you for joining me. This has been quite a journey in the last couple of weeks. I could not understand why my audio was not sounding as good as it could. And I happened to be with Peter yesterday, and he compared earlier audio to recent audio and said, "What have you done?" Of course, I responded, "Nothing." And he wasn't happy with that answer. He just looked at me. The answer is I did move the mic around a little bit, and the mic is right here, but I had it back up here over top of my head. You know, it's a learning experience, and sometimes it's very difficult to shoot the camera work. Like today, for example, I forgot to put the SD card in, and that wasn't all. I forgot to hook up the sound. That was the second thing, but I got that all taken care of, Pete. And all I want to do is show everybody how to glue the back of the guitar together and using a jig that they can make at home that is so easy. So I'm going to have a sip of tea and we will spin the intro, and I'll come right back and show you this because it's far more exciting than listening to me complain about how I can't get audio right. Let's spin the intro. I'll be right back. All right, now that we're back, I'll just set this aside here. Knock that over, that would be good. And what I want to show you is a jig. Now this jig is made of 1-inch square aluminum bar, and I bought this at Princess Auto. It's the same as Harbor Freight in the States. And you can get this also at Home Depot or Lowe's or any of those places. And all I've done is I've taken a piece of plywood, and then I made sure that these were square running across, and I did 4 of them. The idea of cutting these smaller pieces in between is so that there's no flex in the back when you see what we do with that in just a minute. So that supports the back. Now, that is going to sit there like that. And if you're doing a big panel for a door, or you're making a curio cabinet or something of this nature, furniture, you can bring stuff together and use this same principle, only it'll be a little larger than what we have here for the guitar. Now, what I did do is I ran this piece of maple through the jointer over here, and I've got a nice straight edge all in and along here. And that is going to sit here like so. And we will use the hammer on the back in just a minute, so I'm going to set that aside. Now, before we glue this up, which you're going to see me do right now, I want to put some wax paper down over top of the jig on the metal pieces that are running the lengthwise here. And the reason for that, of course, is so when I get the glue that comes out of here, the squeeze out, it'll go onto the wax paper and it won't glue this to the aluminum. All right, so let's put that here like so. I'm going to take this, pop this off. I'll put my glasses on. Now this is very difficult for me, you know, with my shaking hands to be able to get this all the way down, but I think I have a trick here. I've put the corner of this into one of the dog holes on my bench, so that acts as an extra pair of hands for me. And I would like some squeeze out on this, so I'm not too concerned about this, just as long as I've got this fully covered, and I do. Now, what we do is we just set that on the jig here, and then I slide it to make sure I've got both sides well covered with the glue. This is such a great jig. It really works well. there is a notch in the aluminum tube up here, and the reason for that is I've tied a knot in the end of the string, and I'm putting that through this notch in the aluminum to bring it around, and I'm bringing it on the side, and I'm pulling it fairly snug here, going back over. You can see what we've got here with the heavy twine all wrapped around. Now what we're going to do is take these pieces here, these triangles. They're 18.5, 19 inches long, and they are 4.5 inches high. So what I will do with these is I will slide this under here. Okay, there we go. Now, the reason for the hammer, which I learned to call this the persuader, is we just drive it in a little further. There you have it. That's the back all glued together. Now, what happens when you take this and you punch this in like this is it takes the ropes and pulls them up, which causes the rope on the end of either side here to pull the side together. And so what happens is, this is such a tight seam, the aluminum bar keeps it flat, this forces it down, so you get a nice flat, perfect, tight joint. It's great. Now this is scrap plywood. You probably have some at home now anyway. And the aluminum bar, I don't know, it might cost you $8 or so. And that's it. It's as simple as that. I told you, or no, actually I didn't tell you. It's going to be a short video today. And it's time for a cup of English breakfast tea because I've worked so hard at this. After all, we just have to now wait for the glue to dry. And when it does that, oh man, that English breakfast tea is so good. You've got to get some. And so it'll dry up, and once that's done, I will then measure the thickness, and I will scrape off the glue here, and I'll run it through the thickness sander just to take it down till the glue is off. I'm not going to take it very far because I haven't decided whether I'm going to put a strip of shell down the middle of the back of the guitar. I may do that. I kind of like the look of that. So I think I have enough purflings to, line on either side of the shell. So I'll give that some thought while this dries, and that's it. So there are some links down below if you care to check those out. I would appreciate you subscribing and giving me a thumbs up if you like this, and by all means, I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for joining me.